But also if you're walking inside, such as in a gymnasium or a fitness center on a treadmill, just make sure you have some clothing that will allow you to sweat, that will allow you to
Yeah.
breathe.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
whether I'm allowed or not, I'll
Yeah.
sweat.
Yes, and sweating is a good thing, by the
it's
way.
it's whether or not you're gonna feel okay with the clothes you have on
Yes.
when you're sweating.
Yes. Sweating is a good thing. You want to sweat, and we need to sweat. The key with sweating is that when we start to sweat, it actually acts as a cooling mechanism for our body.
Hmm.
So it helps us to cool. So the air from the environment combined with the sweat on the surface of our skin helps
Hmm.
to keep us cool.
I think a lot of
Uh,
ladies that might be listening might have issue with that, but it's a good thing, ladies. And I was thinking about when you were talking about the clothes, Charles.
Yeah.
Make sure you got the right clothes to work out. I think one of the things, especially women, at least me, maybe I'll just
Uh-huh.
talk about me. I can get hung up on is okay. Do I look good? Do I look decent? But when it really comes down to it, that's not important.
Yeah, it doesn't
Good
matter.
old pair of
You'll be
shorts and
yeah.
a t-shirt. Everybody seems to win t-shirts. That's what I do with the
Mhm.
t-shirts that I win that have
Yep.
like words and logos and things on them. They go right in the workout drawer.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
you'll be walking for a grand total of 30 minutes to an hour. So I
It's
think you
okay to
can
be not
stand it.
not to be in
Yeah, I
top
think you can
fashion
stand
for
that.
for a few minutes. Don't let that keep you back.
That's right. Good point. And then, one other thing that I would caution you about just sweating in general is
Hmm.
that you don't want to promote sweating in the sense of you don't want to wear the rubberized
Mm.
gear or any type of clothing that may actually promote or cause more or excessive sweating.
Hmm.
That generally promotes elevated body temperature,
Okay.
and that could be dangerous.
Hmm.
So we want it to be a normal and natural occurrence. We don't want to create that
Hmm.
as a result of our programs, okay? And that goes for walking or anything else that you
Okay.
may do for
Okay.
fitness,
Wow.
okay?
Okay. If you are listening this morning to our show, we are talking about walking your way to fitness. What else do we have about walking, Charles?
All right, let's move on to the next step here. The next step is the actual walking part. I
All
know
right.
you're
So
all
we
waiting to
already
get to that.
we already got the exam. We got the clothes and the gear.
That's right.
We forgot to add something in the gear. Do you know what we forgot, Charles?
The headphones.
No. Oh.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yes,
I
that's
just threw that out
very
there.
important. That is very important. I've got mine. I'm going to be going to the Y after the show today. I got my MP3 player in my bag there. That is part of the gear, but no, something even more important, especially since we were talking about sweating.
Ooh, now you got me
Oh, you
stumped.
don't know? All right,
Wait,
I got a point
wait,
this morning.
wait. Sunscreen?
Water
Oh,
bottle.
right. Well, you can throw sunscreen and water bottle in there.
Oh yeah,
mix in.
sunscreen if you're outside. Yes.
That's right, if you're outside.
So that's right. Don't forget, when you're sweating, we're losing water, so we need to replace it. Very important.
Good point, Cheryl. And typically with walking, again, the water factor becomes a little less important because it's walking. But at the same time, if you're walking for anywhere over an hour or so, you need to make sure that you're getting water at regular intervals during your exercise. So if you know that you're going to be going on a long walk, definitely take a water bottle with you or have some other type of fluid such as a sports drink that you can take typically every 15 to 20 minutes while
Mhm.
you're exercising. It's good to have a good 8 ounces or so just to keep your water replenished as you go along.
Right.
Because over time, particularly as we get over an hour or so in duration, there becomes the potential for dehydration.
Mhm.
And that obviously that can be dangerous because that
Mhm.
can also lead to elevated body temperature.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, that's a good. Let's stop there real quick.
mhm.
Very quick point. I think you can run it off real quick. What are signs of dehydration when people are working out? And yeah, it might not happen as frequently with walking, but you never know,
Mhm.
especially since we're here in Georgia, hot Atlanta.
Yes, and
You know.
right, and good. Yeah, and you're right. The environmental temperatures definitely play a big part
Mhm.
in that. So if you're in the heat, excessive heat, and the sun, but basically the rate or the speed at which you might dehydrate increases.
Okay.
So just know that. But when you look at dehydration, there's a few noticeable signs and symptoms, and the first one that you might see is cramping. Cramping is a sure sign that there's some dehydration taking place, and that's often due to perhaps some excessive loss of sodium in sweat and some electrolyte imbalances there. So there may be some issues with sodium and or potassium or chloride. So the thing that you want to do is make sure that you're continuing to take your water. As the exercise goes further, then you make sure that you take it at those 20-minute intervals. So dehydration, you can get headaches. There can be nausea in there.
Dizziness.
Yes, you can have some dizziness. And also, in cases where it progresses, you may actually see less sweating occur as opposed to more.
Okay.
And then you have some other signs or telltale signs which you may see, not necessarily while you're walking, but over the rest of the day. Might include just constipation.
Yeah,
is one.
not going to the bathroom. Yeah.
And also infrequent urination. And when you do urinate, it's darker in color. So it should be light. It should be a light color, kind of like a light lemonade type color. Shouldn't look like, a premium lager or something like that.
I can't believe you went there.
That just gives you the visual there.
Alrighty then. So yeah, if you're sensing any of those other previous signs, we would recommend, and I believe this is accurate, Charles, to stop working out right away, get help. Get some physical, some attention to that.
Yes.
And probably the best thing you could do is drink some
the
water.
Fluids. The fluids definitely help.
Right
and,
away.
Yes, and you may also need some electrolyte replenishment. So a sports drink would be a good choice at that particular time, along with water. Okay.
Thank you. I don't know if that was on the agenda or not. But
No, that was a diversion.
but it was a
I'm
good
kidding.
one.
No, that was good. Thank you. And so, again, as we start our walking, just a few things to keep in mind when you look at your walking routine. 10-minute segments. I know that there are a lot of beginners. There are a lot of folks who want to get started. They want to do something consistent, but they may not have the time to invest in, say, 30 minutes, 60 minutes of walking.
I'm thinking of a song when you said that.
What we want to do is we want to make sure that
the whole Michael Jackson thing.
We want to do the at least 10 minutes of walking, at least 10. And I would also say that just 10 minutes of walking, though it's good, you want to make sure the intensity is high enough so that your breathing is effective. Okay, so you should be breathing somewhat heavily, not real heavy, and it shouldn't be to the point where you can't talk. In fact, you should be able to talk
I was just going to
while
ask
you're
you that.
walking.
That's kind of like the rule of thumb. You should be able to carry on a
you
conversation.
should be able to talk, but at the same time, you shouldn't be on the leisurely stroll either. Looking at the trees and some people might see walking their dog as a form of exercise. It all depends, and I think that
It all depends if you're walking a Chihuahua or if you're walking the big, the big sheepdog.
right. Now, if the dog is walking you, then that may
That may qualify.
But if you're walking the dog and the dog's stopping every 3 to 5 seconds to smell something or to do something else, then you probably should consider walking on your own, scheduling that activity specifically for you, because it does have to be continuous. Frequent starts and stops will not be enough to promote, one, changes in cardiovascular health, and two, positive benefits such as weight loss. Okay, so 10 minutes, preferably twice per day if you're going to do the 10-minute deal. Okay, so if I'm going to do 10 minutes a day, it may not quite be enough. But if I do 2 10-minute segments a day, that tends to qualify. So there's something about that 20 minutes there.